So welcome everyone. My name is Vicki Perry. I'm the Executive Director of CYREA. I also sit on the Board of Directors for Indiana State REIA. And just to remind you, we have the state conference coming in April. That will be a really, really big thing. We have Trey Hollingsworth as our speaker on Friday night. And then one more reminder, on March the 9th, well, no, let me back up. In March, we go back to in-person meetings for the main meeting and the Super Tuesday Masters meetings. Those will be Zoom also, but if you want to come to the building and network with people, we'll be there. Barring all kinds of other things that can happen, we will be there. But what I wanted to mention to you is that on March the 9th for the Super Tuesday meeting, we have Attorney General Todd Rokita as our speaker, and he will be there. He'll be talking about where is real estate headed in Indiana. So for those of you who are landlords now, you know that this is a very, very important topic, and that we are facing a lot of legislation that some of it's good, most of it's not. So this would be your opportunity to come and meet a very, very influential person. So with that being said, I would like to introduce you to another influential person who is really active in the market. Corey Blade owns Blade Realty, and Deshaun just popped on. So I hope that means that he was able to get his mic working. And Deshaun, are you operations manager? Is that your title?
Actually, I got a promotion.
Oh yeah? So are you going to talk about that when it's your turn?
Yeah, I could, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Can you hear me better?
So with that, just to back up, the realtors at Blade, you're just growing in leaps and bounds, and all the feedback I'm getting is really positive. So it tells me you're running a good operation, and thank you for your support at CYREA. And with that, Corey, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for your support. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, can you all see that okay?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to go over the benefits of being an investor who has a realtor's license or real estate license, right? But the second half is who is a realtor also, because in Indiana, in order to hold your license with a brokerage, with MyBoard access, you've got to be a realtor. So that's a piece in there. So we'll go ahead and get started. So I've got 6 points here on the benefits of holding a real estate license as an investor. And just to summarize those points, what we're going to talk about is the access to BLC. And the BLC is the MLS system, which, if anybody is not familiar with those terms, that's pretty much our database of all listings that come on the market. But it goes a little bit further into it than just the database. It's also got the history of the property, the owner's information, and a lot of other stuff that'll really help you as an investor as well as a realtor. So we'll also talk about networking and connections that you can get from being a realtor, commissions, control of your deals, educational opportunities, and enhanced credibility in some cases. So the first thing we'll go over is access to BLC. So access to BLC, what that means is you have direct access to all listings on the market that any realtor would have, and it's real time. So if a home comes on the market at 3 in the morning and you have a search set up for it, that's going to pop up in your email, right? So you can go right into that, look at the tax history, the history of the property, what it sold for previously, and what's going on in the area as well. You can also pull up the owner information and all that good stuff if you're looking at like a vacant property. You're driving by, you're thinking, hey, this would be a good investment property. I wonder who owns it. Well, you can look at Realist, pull up the tax information, and actually get that information to pursue that property via mailer or however you get a hold of the owner. The BLC also gives you the ability to set up auto searches. So you're alerted of properties as soon as they hit the market. With this piece is pretty important, especially being an investor. So there's a lot of properties that are off market, and then there's some that are on market that are really good investment properties as well. Some people say that they can't find anything on the VLC, but there's always deals out there. They just go pretty quickly. So this is what would set you apart with those properties or those deals. You'll learn how to set up an auto search in the VLC so that you can customize it to certain areas, certain property specifications that you want. So if you want certain square footage, like between 1250 to 2000, or in Broad Ripple or whatever areas you're looking at, 3 to 5 bedrooms in a certain price range, all those properties would automatically come to you as soon as they hit the market. So being a realtor also gives you the ability to look at properties. So you have access to all the properties on the market that are, on the MLS, and you can actually walk through them and set up showings. This helps with time, because usually the process would be that you would call your agent. Your agent would say, hey, how's it going, whenever they call you back, right? And you'd say, hey, I want to see this property, that property, and the other property. And they'd say, okay, well, let me look at my schedule. And they may schedule it later that day, or maybe they're busy and they have to schedule it the next day or the following day. Well, you can lose a deal that fast, right? So this gives you the ability to set it up that same day. You can get a property that morning. Let's say you got up at 6 a.m. and you got a listing that popped up that looks promising to you. Well, you can look at that, do a quick CMA on it, which you would have been trained to do. And then you can actually go out to the property, schedule it, and go look at it all within a few hours. And then you can go back and put an offer on it. So that kind of control with time could really set you apart and give you an edge on other investors, as well as realtors who work with investors, right?
And I would like to add something to that point, Corey.
Go ahead.
The biggest thing for me with the access to the BLC is kind of one of those things where I feel like you almost cut out the middleman. Like Corey said, it saves you a lot more time, opposed to having to call your realtor, set up an appointment, and then get out there at whatever time you guys are able to schedule it. So having that access, directly, it saves you a ton of time. And then just kind of picking off of what Corey said, I've done this a number of times to go check out a property that I might be interested in. As soon as it hit the market, you could just go whenever, it's available for you. So that direct access is really crucial, especially like in the market today with everything selling in a few hours. You don't really have time to go through that third party and say, hey, what time are you free? Can you do this? Can you do that? So in today's market, having access to that BLC is really crucial to you getting that deal or it slipping away. Because, as we know, there's virtually no properties available now.
Yeah. And then you also have that, thanks Deshaun, you also have that ability to look at properties that are off market and see their history. So I think that also makes a difference. Like Deshaun said, you're cutting the middleman out. So you can go straight to the tax information or whatever's on the MLS and use that to your advantage, even pulling those as investment properties, or if you want to list it, listings. I want to open up, at the end of each slide, I'll go ahead and ask if there's any questions on that specific piece. Does anybody have any questions on this portion?
Another thing to add, I'd say as well, is with you being able to look at off-market properties and see the history, you're able to actually get the direct mailing address of whoever owns the property. So, of course, as you guys come across different properties, you may see, ABC Holdings, has 123 Main Street. But once you go into the BLC and you're able to check the tax records, you may see that 123 Main Street isn't their mailing address. The mailing address may be, 1234 Main Street. So, it saves you a lot of time from you to having to do a lot of extra digging on your own, or having to get that third party to find out what someone's mailing address is or how to contact them directly.
So guys,
Good.
before you go on, some of the people on the call might be brand new and they might not really understand the difference between on market and off market. You want to touch on that?
Yeah, I can go through that. So on market, we're talking about properties that are listed by a realtor. So you would find those properties on the BLC, and you can look at it. It says active, or once they accept an offer, goes to pending. Off market would be one that's not listed by an agent. So that would be a property that's vacant, or maybe it's a for sale by owner, or it's just anything that's off market. It could be a wholesaler that has it. But there's like two different markets that you've got, right? On market and off market, and they are full markets, both of them. So there's a lot more out than just the MLS.
It's one more too that is not really mentioned, and it's pocket listings. So
Yeah.
with access to the BLC, you also have access to all of the realtors who are on the BLC, which means, let's say if you're looking for investment properties, or even if you're looking for residential properties in certain areas, what you could do is reach out to those realtors and see if they have any quote unquote pocket listings coming onto the market. So those pocket listings would basically be properties that a realtor may be about to list within the next day or within the next week or whatever their timeline is, and they're about to put it on the market. But if you're able to reach that realtor beforehand and maybe check out that property, that pocket listing, you may have access to it before, and could possibly get a deal in or get your offer submitted before it even hits the market.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So we'll move on to the next slide. And if anybody has questions, feel free to pop in. So the next one is networking and connections. Being a realtor, you do gain access to other real estate professionals, kind of like what Deshaun was talking about with the pocket listings. That's part of that. So you gain access to other real estate professionals and network with agents in your office as well as from other brokerages. So that can give you those pocket listings, and then even listings that haven't quite come on the market yet. An agent may share with you saying, hey, look, I'm talking to this person about this listing that may potentially be a listing, so you can prep yourself or your buyers on those opportunities as well. There's also connecting with different vendors from doing business as a realtor. You're going to run into a lot of good title companies, lenders, and other supportive businesses. It could be contractors or whoever. Similar to, so if you look at your membership here at Cyria, you've got a huge network of really good, reputable lenders, title companies, and supportive businesses. It would be kind of like an addition to that. And if they're good enough, you can actually invite them to Cyria. That's just a plug for you, Vicky. But besides that, networking is really big. You can gain a lot of insight from the other brokers with what's going on in the market and what's about to happen. Deshaun, you have anything to add there?
Yeah, just to kind of go off of with your what you said about networking. This actually helped my business out a lot because in search of those pocket listings, I was able to build relationships with other realtors, and of course, relationships build your business as well. So just having that access to those realtors and then being able to contact them and set up those meetings is really huge. So again, with those connections, having direct access to this gives you that.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the next slide. Commissions. So this is a big one, right? So getting paid a commission every time you purchase a property is a benefit, right? So even as an investor, when you purchase a property for yourself or for your LLC or your portfolio or to flip, you get paid a commission on it. So you're gaining some income to work with there. But once you list your investment properties, you can also either take a commission from your company to yourself, right? Or you can save on that. Commissions are usually in Indianapolis, between the 2.5 to 3.5 range, somewhere in there. We don't set commissions as one standard, but there is a range there, and that percent can be quite a bit off your bottom line that you can save there. You can also earn money by helping others with transactions. So everybody has friends and family, right? So your friends and family are out there buying houses and selling houses. So since you're in real estate, why not be the one to help them and get commission off of while you're doing it? So that's kind of how I look at it there. You can bring extra income in and also help your friends and family, being a quality realtor as well. And then we touched on the sale of investment properties, saving commission there. Deshaun, did you have anything to add there?
Yeah, with the commissions, you can get really creative with the commission. And you also have the opportunity to get paid a number of times on deals, just depending on how you set your deals up. On one deal, I was able to get paid like maybe twice, 2 or 3 times on an investment deal. On the buy side, then of course I was the realtor, so me buying it, I got paid for buying it, and then you sell it, you give a percentage out or whatever, but you get the proceeds from it. So when you have control of your commissions, you can get very creative on how you are able to get paid and how you're set that up. So having that type of control really helps your bottom line out.
Yeah. And speaking of control, the next point is control of your deals. And like Deshaun mentioned, making out of the box decisions. I'm kind of going to bullet point 2 and then I'll go to 1. Making out of the box decisions to save deals that would otherwise fall apart. Using your commission leverage can actually help that. So let's say that, I'll give an example. If you're actually working with another person, you're helping them to purchase a property. Well, let's say that property is being financed and it has to be appraised. Let's say it appraises for less than what the list price was, and the buyer is unable to make up that difference, and the seller is unwilling to come down, but the buyer still wants the property, right? So you can contest that appraisal, and let's say that didn't work out too well. But what the buyer wants to do, they want to do some renovations to it and bring the value up, so you know that it will go up in the future. One thing you can do is you can talk with the other agent and work with them and say, hey, look, if you're willing to take a 1% hit on your commission, I'll take a 1% hit, and then we can make this deal work. Or you can, forfeit your entire commission for your buyer. However you want to do it, that's a way that you can kind of go outside the box and save that deal, especially if it's your own deal, because you're going to make it back on the back end anyway, right? So there's that flexibility to be able to make or break deals. With that, I would say if you're a certain brokerage would give you that kind of autonomy, like for example, Blake Realty Group would, but some other brokerages may not. That commission adjustment does have to be signed off by the managing broker. So you'd want to make sure that you're with a brokerage that allows you to have that kind of flexibility. And I'll go back to point 1, having the ability to structure deals autonomously and with flexibility, and still that depends on the brokerage you're with. That's a big deal. Meaning, let's say you're selling one of your properties, but you want to keep making income off of it. So you want to work outside the box. So let's say that you wanted to do a owner finance property for a 15-year mortgage where you hold the mortgage. That way they're paying taxes, they're dealing with all the issues, but you're able to pull that stream of income for that 15 years, right, with interest. So that's something that you'd be able to structure on your own with your properties and put that on the BLC saying that's a finance option and then structure it out that way. Whereas it's much easier if you have a license to be able to go that way. If you're working with a traditional realtor, when you start to get outside the box, sometimes it can be a bit shaky, right? So you want to make sure, even if you are working with a realtor, that they are investor oriented, meaning they can think outside the box and work with you in ways that a typical realtor wouldn't. Deshaun, do you have anything to add there?
With the control of the deals, this gives you a lot of creativity. And I'll tell you, on the first time, on my first flip, how I actually used the control of my commission and kind of thinking outside the box. What I ended up doing was, with me being a realtor, I had my license. Of course, if I bought the property, I was to receive a commission. So a way that I felt was a creative way to get the deal was I actually gave my commission up to the realtor who was listing the property that I wanted. So he ended up getting both sides of the commission, and then I was able to get the property and then flip the property and then receive the proceeds of that property. So having control over your commissions and being able to dictate how your deals go is really, really huge, opposed to, again, if you don't have that control or you have to give it up to a realtor, it's probably not going to be able to, probably not going to be able to get that deal that you're looking for, because that realtor is not going to think twice about giving up their commission or taking a cut or anything like that. So that control gives you a lot of flexibility, and you are able to be more creative and more out the box with how you go about approaching your deals. So, initially some people may think, giving up my commission, no, I wouldn't want to do that. But if you think on the back end of it, you're about to get a whole property that you're able to flip, wholesale or whatever, of course, do your math. If it makes sense to give up that commission, when usually it probably does if you're going for an investment property, then, they're, losing out on that 3% to make, 2 or 3 times that, it really makes sense to. And in that situation, and for the realtor to have both sides of that transaction made it look more enticing for him as well as the seller. So it helps you a lot to have that control so you can structure your investment deals moving forward.
Yeah, thanks, Deshaun. So we'll move on to the next slide. So educational opportunities. So of course, as a realtor, you've got to go through training to get your license, right? So you're going to go through that real estate training, real estate agent training. So you'll have the state and national standards. There's also continuing education that's required that you would take continuously, and that'll just keep you abreast of changes in the industry when it comes to that vantage point. If you're with depending on what brokerage you're with, most brokerages also give you trainings. So you have ongoing brokerage trainings. If you're with brokers like ours, you're going to learn about trends. When I say trends, I mean what's going on in the Indianapolis area as far as hot spots, what spots are up and coming, right, and why, and what's going on in the areas to indicate that they are up and coming. Different sales tactics, as well as getting knowledge from more seasoned agents who have done what you're trying to do, and you kind of pick their brains, take the best stuff, leave the rest, and move on, right? So educational opportunities, I think, as a realtor, it's just another point where you're going to be able to add to your knowledge base. Besides that, as an investor, you've got other pieces like Cyria, that's a really good educational piece, and then other organizations that you can join. Deshaun, do you have anything to add there? All right, cool. I'll go on to the next slide. So enhanced credibility. So as a realtor, there's a code of conduct that realtors have to follow. And following this code of conduct means that you're supposed to be doing business ethically, right? So this helps to enhance your credibility as an investor. Just as Vicky and I, we were talking earlier today before the call, and Cyria helps to enhance investors. Yeah, Cyria helps to enhance investors' credibility because of how they do business, right? So we have certain standards of best practices that are expected to be followed. It's the same as a realtor. So having a license to back your knowledge of the real estate industry is definitely a plus. That's going to help strengthen your, let's say, credibility with retail people or those who do not operate out of the box. So you guys will find as you move forward with being investors, depending on what you do, there are those who are okay with doing regular residential transactions, right? So they'll buy or sell, but they'll only do it with a realtor. And then there's others who are okay with working with a wholesaler or, having their property put under contract to flip. So you'll find there's two different groups of people. So if you're a realtor and an investor, you're able to really operate in both worlds, right? So that helps with more business and it enhances your credibility there.
Yeah, and that actually kind of goes, going off of your point, being able to operate in both worlds. When people see that you have your license and then you're doing some type of investment, from what I've noticed, there's some kind of like light bulb or something that kind of goes off almost, because then people are like, oh, okay, like you do know what you're saying because you do have your license, to where like, many people, and even Vicky had mentioned it before, some people look at investors as like, you guys are just money sharks, you're just trying to whatever. So when you throw out there that you have your license, you have access to all this other different information, then it kind of gives you that, sense of like, okay, I can trust you. You're not just trying to flip my house or whatever the case may be, or you're not just trying to sell me. So that having your license and having that standard attached to your name is really huge moving forward. It really helps build that trust factor. And then it's one of those things, honestly, it kind of, in a sense, start to grow your business on its own, having that designation behind your name. So definitely the credibility is definitely a plus, even going into the investment world. Again, it's just a whole different level of access. And then just from the networking standpoint, and it's just a lot of credibility that's able to be back behind you from having that realtor designation behind you.
All right, cool. All right, so after those points, so this is how you become a licensed investor, right? So here are the steps. First, you'll enroll and complete a sales real estate broker. It used to be salesperson, now it's broker, right? I've been around for a while, evidently. So real estate broker pre-licensing course. Once you take that course, you'll have to pass the state and national broker's license exam. And then you'll study for it, of course, if you want to pass it the first time. And then you'll go ahead and take the exam, pass it. Once you pass it, you want to have your license held by an active real estate brokerage. And that's how you're going to get the access to the BLC and all the tools that go with that. So we're done with this slide now, so we'll move on to our next section. But before that, I'll go ahead and fill any questions. So we've got a few. I'm going to stop the share there. So I'm going to go through, see if there's any questions here.
So Corey, Krista
Yeah.
asks if you, she's working on her license now and wants to know if you can do, or if you're a broker for Madison County.
Yes. Yes, we service the entire Indianapolis area and surrounding. So Madison County we have access to everything up there as well.
Okay,
So we can
thanks.
definitely offer.
And another question is, let's see, somebody asked if you have to hang your license with someone in the state of Indiana, with a managing broker, and I responded yes, but you want to touch on that real quick?
Yes, that's the right answer. No. So you do have to hang your license in the state of Indiana. It's just required unless you've been a real estate broker for 2 years or more. Then you can go for your managing broker license and hang your own.
Good, thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Were there any other questions?
I don't see any more.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and pass it over to Deshaun.
Yeah, so
Thanks.
I'm gonna. Oh, go ahead, Vicky. I'm sorry.
Nope, that's okay. I just said thanks.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Blade and then the opportunities that we have at Blade, and kind of give you some insight on how we operate our company. So I saw a question pop up. I'll answer that really quick. Vicky, that may be a question for you in the box.
Yeah, I see it. Thanks, Deshaun.
Okay. So yeah, how we go operate at Blade. I like to say that we're fairly different from any of the other brokerages. We're not trying. We're operating on a bigger scale. I don't like to say that we're a smaller brokerage. We have the same technologies. We have the same access as any of the bigger brokerages. We use KV Core system. If you're not familiar with that system, there's a number of brokerages that use the system as well. With us, we try to bring a different aspect to real estate that many of the other brokerages may not, or maybe not even support. And what I mean by that is most of our agents are investors themselves. So if you was to join Blade Realty Group, we have wholesalers on our team. And just to name drop a few, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Tyler Shove, Charles Lemons. Those are two of the wholesalers on our team. We have a few flippers that's on our team, and Chris Jenkins, Joy Stanish. She's done work with Jeff Tyson and his company. So we're getting real rounded out with the investors that's on our team. So our idea behind that is we're looking to establish an area for investors to be able to work to where if you want to do retail or some type of investing, we have everything what you need at our table at Blade for you to kind of get your deal off before you even have to market it or whatever you have to do with it. So a couple of our agents have done joint ventures together. As far as the education thing, we have different meetings each month, and we have a total of 3 meetings every month, broken down into a team meeting, to which our team meetings, we usually go over what's going on in the market. We'll always talk about what's going on as far as the law. So we'll have case studies every team meeting, I'm sorry. And then also just kind of get an idea of what all of our other agents and investors are doing. Another meeting that we have, we always bring in a guest speaker. Usually we'll try to bring in a guest speaker, of course, that is a benefit to your business. The guest speakers will usually come from Cyria on the investing side for the most part, and then we'll try to find someone on the retail side as well to help you on the retail side as well for those agents who want to be dual agents. And then for the third meeting, which is on the 4th week of the month, we got the guest speaker, the team meeting, and then it was what was the last meeting? There was a how-to. So we go through like a how-to training. I'm sorry, I had a brain freeze. So our how-to training is where we will literally be on the call how we are, and we're going to be showing you how to do something hands-on. So it's not one of those things where it's just like, hey, create a CRM, and good luck with it. We're actually going to show you step by step, pull it up on the screen, how to go to it, how to get it started, how to save any of your searches, and try to get really in depth and get a more personal touch. And that's one of the things that I feel that we as Blade bring to the table that other brokerages do not. Reason that we decided to go about it that way was because my first few years, I had trouble with knowing what to do on a daily basis, or how to set up a schedule, or just kind of getting a good direction on where to go. So we decided to get more in depth on everything as far as the training, the how-tos, and bringing in those people to tell us what we need to do to give you that direction so you can hit the ground running. And I would say it's been really beneficial, not only for me, but for the people that's joining Blade. Over the past 2 to 3 years, we've grown up to 16 agents now, I believe. And we're continuously growing. And Cyria has been a big part of that. Also with us, we pay for your membership to be a part of Cyria. So of course you guys are already members now, but once your membership expires and you're with Blade, you no longer have to worry about that expense, and we'll cover that for you. So we'll always kind of keep you in the loop on Cyria meetings and what Cyria has going as well, because that's a big part of our investment strategy in teaching our agents how to go. Or which way to go. We do feel that Cyria is the gold standard in Indiana for that investing side. So we really do lean on them a lot, which is, like I said before, where we get a lot of our vendors for on that side of it. Another personal touch that I love about our company is that I'm a relationship person. I'm not one of those people who just want to go about the deal or just want to, make the money. I really like to know who I'm working with. So you always would get encouraged from me. I'm probably the one that always be reaching out, how you doing, whatever, good morning, you need help. So that's me, only because I try to give out things that I don't want to say that I didn't get, but it just kind of took me a little bit longer to learn that if I would have had that when I first got in, then, you probably could have made a lot more success or whatever the case may be. But it's just a real personal and intimate way that we go about business. From group outings, we encourage our agents to meet and greet with one another, sharing information. We all are in Facebook groups together. We're always passing and sharing resources, and we always stress, how to help one another and not feel that another agent on the team is a threat in any way. So those are just some of the things that we practice, that we preach at Blade, and to keep up with the gold standard of Cyria and how they educate their investors on the direction to go, keep up with the ethics. So that is something that you could expect when joining Blade if you decide to join. Also, another cool thing that I like about us is, we do try to get these group outings together. Of course, COVID is messing up a lot of that. So it's taking out the ability for us as agents and investors to come in the same room, meet, greet, and talk. So we do try to have quarterly outings if possible. And just to invite the team out, just to get everyone to meet. And again, just to show that it's not always just about, business. And like I said, that aspect comes from, just from me not wanting it to be all about business. I really like to know the people that I'm working with, genuinely make friends in this business, because how I look at it is, you would more rather trust someone, you would trust someone to do a deal with, to give money with, to do anything with, if you're seeing them more. So if you see them more, you hear them more, you're able to, talk or whatever, it just gives you that security blanket of, that, this is the right way to go. So I won't ramble more about what I love about Blade, but, I've been here from the jump. As Vicky had kind of mentioned before, I was actually, of course, started out as the agent, then got promoted to the business director, and now I'm a partner of the company. So I love it. We're continuously growing. Like I said, we're up to 16 agents now. And I love it here. And we would definitely love for you guys to join us and be a part of our family. And anything that we're able to do for you, even if you're not a part of the Blade family, we're always open to help out and answer questions. And that's just the culture that we're looking to bring, into real estate.
Can I jump in there real quick?
Yes.
So one of the things that people ask me a lot is they ask, do I need to be a realtor to be in this business? And my response is always, no, you don't. But do I think it is one of the best things you can do to be in this business? Absolutely, yes. Because you learn the law. Real estate, if you want to get in trouble and you want to be involved with a lot of attorneys, you can do that quickly in our industry. And by getting your license and taking these classes, you learn quickly how to stay within the right way of doing business. So that's my number one reason to get your license. But secondly, in this market, as Corey was saying, I think, and Deshaun added to it, if you can't get out to see a property the same day it's listed, there's a good chance you're not going to get that property. And for those of you who are wanting to get in the industry now, do you want to wait another 1.5 to 2 years when it starts slowing down again before you buy your first property? I wouldn't think so. And I love the fact that as an agent, you can go into back listings to see what didn't sell. I mean, gosh, what a great resource that is. So, and then the other thing I did want to mention is that in my position, I hear the complaints. So I want you to know that Blade Realty, I've never gotten one single complaint on it from anybody who has their license with Blade. They love the fact that you guys are so helpful, but yet you're autonomous when you need to be. And that's why I asked you guys to talk about this for everyone. So
yeah, there's 2 points that you mentioned I'd like to touch on as well, Vicky, as far as like the law and everything. And that's really important because we all know it's kind of like the wild, wild west, in investing period. But when you come on the retail side, you have to follow a code of ethics because now you're starting to represent people. And the reason why it's helpful for as investors is because with Blade, we'll tell you, what lines you're able to cross or what lines you shouldn't even go near. And it's really helpful when you have like, for an example, the wholesaler and realtor talk. That's a talk that we will always have to have because as a wholesaler, you want to get that price down here. But if you're going to represent that client, you're supposed to have their best interest and you're supposed to get them their, the money up here. So you have to find that common balance, and we'll have to have the talk on, what lines you're able to cross and what you shouldn't do when representing the client or when you're representing yourself. So there's just different things about transparency that we'll have to go through and everything. But it's really one of those things where being a realtor, it helps you understand how to move in the investment world as well, because it gives you that designation on, okay, hey, I'm actually representing myself in this transaction, so I can do A, B, C, D. Or, hey, I'm going to be representing, this person, so I can do this as well. So having that realtor's license, it definitely, helps out with that education part. And then also with that, the continuing ed, we actually have, I think MyBor covers that now, or not covers it, but they give us like a access to that now, Corey. It's
the continuing education.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually, so our continuing education, if you're a MyBor member, it's covered for the year. It doesn't do your pre-licensing, but they do cover your continuing education with RECP. They're the ones that we go through with that.
And that's huge because I'm honestly, like, I would have trouble remembering sometimes when I would have to, get all of that done because it's just something else that's added onto your plate. But now that it's kind of in our system now, it's just more information that we're able to keep up to date easier, and we could just pass that information along. And yeah, so.
Yeah, there was a question from Tom, and Tom, you asked if we're specific to areas, if we're limited to specific areas, or if we can have our agents represent other areas not listed. Yes, you can represent anywhere in Indiana, and then hopefully soon in Atlanta or Georgia as well. Deshaun's actually licensed down there, so we're looking to expand a bit. But here in Indiana, you can represent anywhere in the state. And even my board is expanding. So we've got MLSs like Terre Haute is included now. We're going all the way up north, and it's expanding every year. So.
And Corey, or Deshaun, Susan asked also, are the team meetings available on Zoom, or are they, I'm guessing, just in person?
Oh no, they're all Zoom. Since COVID, we've had all of our meetings on Zoom. So our meetings are every Tuesday. You know, of course via Zoom. So yeah. We haven't really had an in-person meeting since COVID, and that it kind of sucks, you know. But that's one of the reasons why we're trying to do the quarterly outings to kind of get that feel, you know, of everyone being able to meet and greet each other in person.
Yeah. Also, we're gonna continue Zoom after COVID, but it'll be in person. But we'll still have that Zoom stream for those who cannot make it in person. They'll still be able to watch it wherever they are, or we'll record it and they can see it then.
Oh, also one thing that I failed to mention about Blade, and I feel like I just want to mention this because I talked to a lot of brokerages, and so one thing that we offer is like we have a Dropbox feature. So in this Dropbox feature, we kind of add any tool or anything that we've come across as realtors, investors, and we put it in that Dropbox for everyone to have access to. So in our Dropbox, you'll find listing presentations, you'll find real estate trainings, you'll find investing information, and just different tips for you guys to pull out at your leisure to read through, use as templates, and just use to the benefit of you having your license. And I think that's one great feature to where it's just more access to more information. And we're constantly updating that. We do contract templates. So, you know, going through to show you how to write the different contracts, different scenarios, case scenarios is actually one of my favorite things is the case scenarios. So yeah, we're getting a lot of information in, and we're starting to move on a way bigger scale. So sorry, I just wanted to mention that excites me. The Dropbox feature excites me.
Does anyone else have questions for the guys? All righty. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Deshaun. You did wonderfully, and a lot of good information. And unless anyone has any other questions, we're going to get out of here, and everyone have a good and safe day.
Yeah, thank you for joining, everyone. And we'll see you next time, Vicki.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.